And I will say, if you were planning to go shopping at our store today or tomorrow, then I'll say don't, because you can save a lot of money if you go shopping a little bit later, meaning go shopping on Saturday onwards. So we are going to be having an early access starting the Saturday on the 20th. So this is the reason why I say don't shop until the 20th. I want to save you some money. So today I want to do some questions and answers. We're gonna do them live, and if you're watching this on replay, then just post them, and I'll get to them later, or my team will. But I wanna talk about some of the core supplements that we have in our store, and hopefully that will help you understand a little bit on what are some of the benefits, what's a good thing to stock up now. I want to talk a little bit more about those, especially those supplements a little bit more expensive. And that way you get the biggest savings. We're basically doing 25% across the store. So that's a pretty big saving, especially if you stock up on some of the more pricey ones, right? Like GLA and as well as sulforaphane, which is our Brocco power, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to go over a couple of different supplements and highlight some of the benefits of how they can help you hormonally. Balance yourself out, remineralize yourself, how to restore your balance in the body using supplements. And so, the book, by the way, if you're getting it from our wellena.com store, is also 25% off. You won't get it 25% off on Amazon, but you get it from our store. So that's another opportunity also to get ours. The book, Overcoming Estrogen Dominance, is also going to be on sale on Saturday. All right, so why don't we jump in? I'm going to start talking, and then if you have questions about any of our supplements, or specifically, like if you want to know some of them, how they can support different hormonal issues, then post them and I'll get to live questions and answers in just a second. All right, so let's start off with maybe the one that you hear me talk a lot about, and that's Brocco Power. So Brocco Power is our sulforaphane. It's a substance that is found in broccoli sprouts. I'm actually sprouting my own sprouts right now. The challenge with broccoli sprouts is that not all of them contain bioavailable sulforaphane in very high amounts, and it's kind of a hit and miss on how much there is going to be in the broccoli sprouts. So I use them. I sprout them and I use them in my daily diet anyway, because I just feel like they're just a wonderful addition to. They are full of phytonutrients. They're just minerally very, very rich. But the sulforaphane part, if you are really looking for a standardized dose of sulforaphane into your protocol, then Brocco Power is what we can guarantee the delivery and the content. So for those of you who are struggling with estrogen dominance, this is really a great opportunity to stock up on 3 of our supplements in our Estrogen Reset Kit. And many of you know DIM, dialdohydromethane, as being the estrogen buster, right? And yes, DIM can help. However, DIM upregulates your phase 1 liver detoxification. You would need liver detoxification support for phase 2 as well in order to bind up those dirty estrogens. So, like all toxins, the things like estrogens get metabolized in phase 1, but also they need support on phase 2 liver detoxification. So DIM does a great job is doing the first one, but in the first part, but not the second part. And this is where sulforaphane, calcium diglucarate play a really big role. So we have the Estrogen Reset Kit, and I believe you can save something like $22. So it's 25% of the full price. So that's going to be a big saving for you. And that's the set of supplements that has really helped a lot of women overcome estrogen dominance. So things like painful periods, hot flashes, fibroids, endometriosis, irregularity in your periods, right? Lumpy breasts, fibrocystic breasts, thyroid nodules. Those are some of the long list of those. The interesting thing about sulforaphane is that there is research showing how sulforaphane is able to kill cancer cells or stem cells in cancer cells when it comes to breast cancer. So it's a pretty amazing substance. Another compound I want to talk about is magnesium. So we have a number of different forms of magnesium in our store. All of them these are our most popular products. They are not the most expensive products, so your savings are going to be significantly lower as compared to the more expensive products. However, if this is something you do use on a daily basis, I certainly do, especially when it comes to Magnesium Replenish. Magnesium Replenish is made from magnesium biglycinate. When you are shopping magnesium, make sure that the magnesium you are purchasing is highly bioavailable, and it contains there's a few good forms. Glycinate is my favorite because it's highly bioavailable and it does not cause any GI issues. The one that is highly energizing, and we have that in our Mag Energy, which is right here. Mag Energy, we call it Mag Energy because, as the name implies, it's a highly energizing form of magnesium. I take it only in the mornings. I've made a mistake of taking it in the evenings and I couldn't sleep. So Magnesium Replenish is a great one for replenishing magnesium levels in the evenings, and it has got a calming effect. If you're craving things like chocolate, is your body's way of telling you that you're probably low on magnesium. It's a really good chance for you to stock up on it. Things like Magnesium Replenish can stay on your shelf for 2 years. Unlike herbs and botanicals, these are synthetic versions of magnesium, and so they are not going to go bad, which means that you can keep them on the shelf for, like I said, up to 2 years, no problem. That's why I'm saying stock up on those for, if I were you, probably for 6 months or so. One bottle suffices for 2 months. I personally take a little bit more than what the dosage is prescribed here because that is what I need, maybe because of my daily stressors. Magnesium gets robbed when you are just going through the regular, stressors in the day. So one form of magnesium you don't want to find in a multivitamin, you don't want to be taking as a form of replenishing, is magnesium oxide. It's the cheapest form of magnesium that is also highly ineffective in helping you rebuild magnesium levels in your body. Magnesium is, and by the way, when you find magnesium oxide in a supplement, that is like a dead giveaway that generally this company makes supplements in a cheap and an ineffective way. And so if you want high quality supplements that actually work for you, so you don't spend your money on expensive pee or just pee them out, that's the best case, and not hurt yourself, because that can also happen. You make sure that you are getting high quality, and that will be magnesium glycinate or malate. There's a few other ones like thiourate, which is great for brain. It crosses over the gut-brain barrier. That's also very effective. All right, another one I want to talk about is D3. So we are going into winter months, where getting your vitamin D from the sun is not going to be possible if you're living on North Hemisphere. If you are living in Australia and Argentina, surely this is going to be the time for you to get out and get vitamin D from the sun. And I'm talking here about not getting burned and grilled in the sun, but I'm talking about getting 15 to 20 minutes full body exposure, actually getting butt naked out in the sun. However, for those of us who are in the North Hemisphere, we're going into a place where right now it's not going to be, you're not going to be getting vitamin D from the angle the sun comes onto us. You're not going to be able to get vitamin D from the sun. One way of knowing this is that if you look at the shade, your shade on the ground, if your shade is, the shadow, if the shadow is longer than your body, then that's an indication that you are not going to be getting vitamin D. Really very simple formula, if you will. Our vitamin D3, by the way, also contains K2 and K1, so it's great for additional absorption when it comes to bone building. A lot of people think of bone building as something like calcium deficiency, but it's actually, you also need magnesium. Besides calcium, you also need magnesium, vitamin D3, K1, K2. You also need boron, manganese, as well as estrogen and progesterone in order to replenish. So it's a whole combination of things. But generally, D3, going into the season, I mean, everything from, for those of you who have autoimmune conditions, Hashimoto's, for example, rheumatoid arthritis, etc., this is going to be key for you to replenish vitamin D3 levels and keep them up high in above 60, so between 60 to 80 nanograms per deciliter is what's recommended. Not what you see in the recommendation in your lab work. That is for sick people. That's not really for healthy people. So that's make sure that you get that number. And it takes about 2 to 3 months for you to replenish your vitamin D levels. Like if you are, for example, low right now on vitamin D, your tests show that, and you go and get, when you take it for a month and you retest again, your vitamin D levels are not going to go up that quickly. So give it about 2 to 3 months to replenish. Now, somebody was asking about vitamin B. So let me talk about that. Ours is called B Maximus. The reason why we call it Maximus is because it's a B complex. So it contains not just B12, but also B1, which is our thiamine, great for mood enhancement, memory enhancements. Vitamin B2, it also contains vitamin B6, which is your precursor for a lot of hormones, including progesterone, as well as various different neurotransmitters, depending on the vitamin B6. If you have a poor dream recall, it could be an indication that you are having deficiency of vitamin B6. So that's an easy one to know. We, of course, have vitamin B12 in here, and it's in a methylated form. So again, if you have a favorite supplement company and you're shopping this Black Friday week coming up, be sure that you get vitamin B12 in a methylated form and not in a cyanocobalamin. So cyanocobalamin is not what you don't want. You want to see it in a methylated. So methylcobalamin form is a good quality vitamin B12. We also have folate in here. So this is especially important for women who are planning to get pregnant. And that's another dead giveaway when it comes to supplement quality, is that if you find a supplement such as a B vitamin or a multivitamin that contains folic acid, that's a synthetic version of vitamin B. Unfortunately, folic acid attaches itself to the folate receptors and blocks the actual folate, which is also found in natural foods, from coming through. So it's a double whammy. A, you're not getting the folate, and B, you're blocking the receptors for the good stuff for coming through. So that's not a very, so it's a double whammy when it comes to that. All right, another one, since we're talking about multivitamins, we've got the Women's Daily Multi. Many of you are asking about multivitamin. And so, there's a few things to consider if you're having a favorite multivitamin. A few things to consider is, like I said, magnesium. What you want to see is magnesium in a glycinate form, malate form, never in an oxide form. If it's got a vitamin B12, you want to see it in a methylated form. If it's folic acid, you want to throw it away. You want to find folate in it. What ours contain has got also vitamin C in it. We've got vitamin D in it. We've got K1 and K2 thiamine, which is your vitamin B1. Riboflavin, which is your B2, B6 as well. We've got B12. We've got biotin, which is also great for hair, by the way, but not always. I mean, it's great for hair if that's your deficiency. A lot of women are losing hair because of thyroid issues, not because of biotin deficiency. There is a bit of iodine in here, so I do not recommend this multivitamin if you're having Hashimoto's disease. We've got zinc in it, which is important, selenium, manganese, chromium, metabellum, vitamin E here as well. So vitamin A as well and C. So a very comprehensive list of vitamins. There is one supplement I want to talk about called Quercetin and Nettles. And so this is, I think, one of the very underestimated supplements. And the reason why I want to talk about it now is because, by the way, for those of you who are joining us late, we're doing questions and answers on supplements. However, don't buy them yet. Wait until 11:20 because that's when you get all the discounts, 25% across the store, okay? So our Quercetin plus Nettles is a great one. And I think it's a very underestimated supplement. Quercetin is and Nettles, the reason why we combine them is because it gives an incredible anti-inflammatory response to allergens. And so for those of you who are struggling with a lot of allergies going into spring, this is where you have a really great opportunity to stock up now. So when you go into end of winter, so like sometime around February, March, you start taking this. I mean, you can start taking this anytime, really, especially if you're just you have a lot of allergies all the time. Obviously, allergies are on the rise during springtime. because of all the pollen and stuff. However, you don't have to suffer. A lot of the people in our community always say that ever since they changed the diet, especially when you support the liver. And by the way, the B Maximus that I talked about is amazing when it comes to supporting your liver. Almost every single vitamin B here is required by the liver for it to be able to do its work. So when you really clean up your diet and offload and support your liver in terms of the ability to work properly and detoxify you, your ability to process allergens is going to reduce as well. So that's something to consider. We assume that having a lot of allergies all the time is a normal thing. Actually, it's not. And the healthier you are, the cleaner is your, especially your liver, the calmer your whole immune system is. And that way you actually wouldn't even need quercetin and nettles, to be perfectly honest. However, if you struggle with a lot of allergies and you really spring comes and you're all stuffy and you're depending on a lot of antihistamines, for those of you also having histamine issues, quercetin and nettles is just amazing. Many people who are interested in herbalism, you might have heard how nettles are used for a lot of allergies. And so that's why we've combined this product, and we've had incredible results last year when we introduced the product, by people saying they've had a lot less allergies last year spring compared to their usual. Okay, let's see what else do I have here. Vitamin C burst, another one to consider. It's a pretty inexpensive supplement. However, a really important one for obvious reasons, helps you with your immune system. But also the other thing a lot of you may not know is that vitamin C is also key when it comes to, it's a building block for your progesterone production. So I often talk about it that when COVID happened, I upped my vitamin C levels for obvious reasons to support my immune system. And the funny thing was that my luteal phase, so from ovulation until my period, actually prolonged, which was really interesting to see, and without trying anything else. So that's a really big one. The one other one I want to talk about is GLA Maximus. So GLA stands for gamma linolenic acid. And I know that's not a super sexy, interesting name, but I feel like we need to rebrand this product because it has so much more to offer than what I initially thought. So this is actually better than GLA is what's found in evening primrose oil. And many of you might have heard your OBGYN or midwife or a naturopath will say, well, if you have terrible PMS, just try evening primrose oil and it's going to alleviate a lot of your symptoms, which is very true. We have found, though, that GLA derived from borage oil, we have about 3 times more concentration of GLA when it's derived from borage oil. And so this is the reason why our GLA comes from borage, not evening primrose oil. And so what is it good for? It's just like your OBGYN might have told you, it's amazing for alleviating pain when it comes to PMS, like your uterus is just on fire. So it works on the prostaglandin 1 and 3, which are the anti-inflammatory ones that actually block the receptors for prostaglandin 2, which is the inflammatory ones that's actually causing the pain in the uterus. So it's really powerful. The other thing is we are rolling out a product next year, and I'll tell you more about it as the time comes. But it's going to be something around to do with breast health. And one of the things we've been experimenting with is opening up the capsule, because it's actually, let me show you the capsule. It's actually, it's not a capsule, it's a soft gel, right? So I could actually cut through it and the oil will come out. And so we've been experimenting with it for those of my colleagues and our team members who suffer from painful breast before their cycles, and they will open up the capsule and apply it on the breast. And even when applied topically, it gives a lot of relief to painful breast, the kind of pain that you feel before your period when it's like super uncomfortable, it's difficult to sleep, on the sides, it's difficult to exercise, be intimate, etc. So a really wonderful supplement, but it's also for uterus, any kind of pain you are experiencing before a cycle. This is just a really, really wonderful product. Okay, one other thing, two other things I want to mention. In case you're coming late, make sure you just put it in your shopping cart, but don't buy it today, because then you don't get the savings. You're gonna get the savings on the 20th, right? So just put it in your cart and then check out on the 20th. One other product that's really popular and we get great reviews on it, it's called the Morning Ritual. And the Morning Ritual contains basically your electrolytes. Starting off first thing in the morning, you will feel really energized by it. We want you to be energized from nutritional abundance, if you will, from, natural nutrients energizing you, and not being energized from caffeine. Okay. So like, for example, doing things like our Mag Energy that I was showing, right? That can be very energizing first thing in the morning. That's magnesium malate in the malate form. And that's a healthier way of being energized as compared to having coffee first thing in the morning. So the Morning Ritual contains things like, we do have magnesium malate in it, of course, but we also have vitamin C. So copious amounts of vitamin C first thing in the morning. That's super energizing. We have electrolytes, so chloride, sodium, and potassium. Those are the classical electrolytes. By the way, how many of you here feel like when you have a glass of water first thing in the morning, it actually really like perks you up? You might feel that, right? And the interesting thing is that water works better. That's why athletes, would not just drink water, but will drink electrolytes. Oftentimes they are very unhealthy electrolytes because they also come with a lot of sugar and such, and preservatives, and colors. But the reason why they drink electrolytes is because dehydration or proper hydration can happen when the water molecule gets delivered to the cells much more effectively in the presence of electrolytes. So this is the reason why we have those in here. And then we also have a couple of other things, including quercetin and taurine. Okay. One other thing I want to talk about is, let's see, what have I missed? Something else that I want. Oh yeah, Adrenal TLC. So Adrenal TLC, so it's your a combination. It's a blend of different adaptogens, and we've got here a whole bunch of them, including urethro, which is your Siberian ginseng, American ginseng, also known as Panax, ashwagandha. We've got rhodiola in here. We've got tyrosine, and we got a tiny bit of licorice. Okay. Now, this licorice is in a form of it's in a form here that is not gonna elevate your pressure. High blood. It's not gonna cause high blood pressure, and so it's in a totally safe form. I recommend to take it, however, first thing in the morning, because rhodiola and Panax can be, I wouldn't say stimulating, but they can be energizing. They kind of like have that pick-me-up quality to them. They also give you a great sense of stamina throughout the day. So for those of you who feel like your adrenals need a little bit of TLC, your HPA axis has been a little worn out because of stress that you might be having experiencing for the past few months, this is a great supplement. But always remember, you will benefit a lot more from supplements like these and restore your hormonal health and balance, including your adrenal health, when you do that combined with a really good sleep and a really clean diet. Get off sugar, minimize caffeine, and especially having caffeine on an empty stomach is a real, it's a super stressful thing that you're doing to the body. It's a huge cortisol. You're creating a huge cortisol spike that way. And sleep, right? But when you combine it with a clean diet, plenty of sleep, and then you add this in, this is when a lot of magic starts happening. So, and besides the botanicals that I mentioned, we also have vitamin C. Vitamin C is one of those that gets robbed by stress really quickly, and adrenals need vitamin C in order to operate properly. We have got riboflavin, which is B2, B6 again, because of the neurotransmitter production. And we got the pantothenic acid, which is, I believe, is B7. Yeah, so a really nice formulation that we've had really great results with. Lastly, let me just mention our two latest additions to the Wellena family, and that's our Digestive Bitters. Really helpful if you're planning to be eating a lot during Black Friday. And so if you order on the 20th, you should be able to get it just before Thanksgiving, but also over Christmas and the whole holiday period. Digestive Bitters is something that we formulated. You do this, the light pink one, before a meal. This one is slightly sweeter, and hopefully it doesn't make you want too much sugar. We formulated that to be having more like fennel sort of taste, you know, and have it after a meal. The before a meal, excuse me, is slightly more bitter, but it's not bitter to a point when it's disgusting, and it just makes you just go, ugh. It's got a very beautiful rounded flavor to it, yet has got a bunch of different bitters that will help you. Let me just tell you what they are. So first of all, we're using ginseng, which is the classical bitter when it comes to priming your digestion for receiving food and extracting all the goodness out of the food, as well as helps you manage your blood sugar balance. We also have Schisandra, which is one of my favorites. It's a berry from Siberia. We've got Angelica, Archangel. We've got ginger, again, another classical, rosemary. We've got sweet meadow, clove in here. Most of them are organic. And then in the after, we'll have things like burdock root. So that's your bitter. And then we have anise. And so that gives you the really nice after dinner flavor. We've got endographis, chamomile to calm down your digestion, fennel, catnip. A lot of people don't realize that catnip is not just for cats, it's for humans too. It's a really great herb to calm down your nervous system. So really beautiful combinations. And for those of you who tried our digestive bitters, you know that they are very different from the digestive bitters that are in the market that make you go, you squirt them in your mouth and it's like, oh, never again. Okay, so let's see what questions we might have. And Kamalani, do you want to pop them on the screen? And then I'll just answer them. Just hopping on, my daughter was diagnosed with endometriosis. Is there supplements that will help her with that? Stacy's asking. So yeah, so the first thing is it's really good to look at a full protocol, Stacy, and I suggest get my book, Overcoming Estrogen Dominance, on the 20th. So in case you're joining us late, the sale starts on the 20th. So on Saturday. We are recording this on a Thursday, so just wait for 2 more days. Put things in your shopping cart, whatever appealed to you when I'm talking about the different things, but don't shop yet. Get it on the 20th. So get the book. There's a whole protocol on the endometriosis, starting off with a highly anti-inflammatory diet to bring the inflammation down. Endometriosis, you want to address two things. One is three things. One is your diet, right? And bringing the inflammation down is really important. The endometriosis has an autoimmune component to it. So working on the digestion and really calming down the fire in the digestion is going to be hugely important. Number two is that estrogen fuels the growth of the endometrial tissue, overgrowth of it, because we all have a little bit of it, but it's the overgrowth that's problematic. And excess estrogen causes that. So the supplement, the Estrogen Reset Kit, which contains sulforaphane, DIM, and calcium D-glucarate, has got all the three supplements that help her detoxify estrogen the correct way. And we have links that Kamalani posted earlier about that kit. And then the third strategy for endometriosis is to help with certain enzymes that have a great efficacy toward chomping down the tissue. And there's some enzymes that we have in the store. And we call it fibro support because it also works on fibroids, but fibro support is going to be a great supplement for her to use. Remember that if she just depends on the supplements without changing her diet, then the endometriosis is going to come back. So that's just heads up on that. Okay. I started your calcium D-glucarate 3 weeks ago and I got hot flashes. What I did not have for more than 7 months is an explanation for that. Yeah, sure. So calcium D-glucarate is just one of the compounds that detoxifies you of estrogen. And the other question is, are you getting hot flashes because, why are you getting the hot flashes in the first place, right? So if it's due to estrogen dominance, then calcium D-glucarate is just one of the compounds that helps you detoxify you of estrogen. The other one is look at Brocco power, and as well as DIM. The other thing is that a lot of times women get hot flashes because they are low on progesterone. So correcting your progesterone level could be another route that you could explore. Lastly, it's always good to remember that looking at what else has changed apart from you taking calcium D-glucarate. Is there anything else that has changed? So I have seen typically women with blood sugar levels that fluctuate, having more inflammatory diet and more stress. That's when the hot flashes start manifesting a lot more. Let me go over to Instagram, and we've had a bunch of questions there. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna look at that. Sorry, you guys are gonna like, I'm doing two things at the same time. Joe is asking, why does pea go bright yellow with B vitamin? Yeah, so it's actually, I kind of like it because then I know something is happening. It's because of your riboflavin, your B2 is what's going to be coloring it. And that's very normal. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. What other questions do you guys have for those of you who are watching live? Sherry's asking, do you have a natural non-synthetic vitamin E? So our vitamin E is actually naturally derived. It's not synthetic. Does chelated zinc help with allergies? So zinc can help with a lot of things, including supporting your immune system. It helps with Hashimoto's disease. It helps to rebuild your gut microbiome, including the integrity of the intestines. Zinc can play a really important role in this. And always remember, don't take more than what's recommended. And the recommended dose between 30 to 50 milligrams a day. With allergies, I haven't really seen much improvement as such. And Sherry, it's going to be always the same thing. What I say is that your liver is hugely responsible for dealing with allergies and so with allergens. So when you improve your liver and lower the inflammation overall in your body, including changing your diet, that's when allergies improve. Just depending on one supplement, I would say is, like even is just not, I feel like it's like you're cheating yourself, and I will be dishonest with you if I just say, oh, Quercetin and Nettles are going to take all your allergies away. It will help it, but it will take it really away for a long time and very effectively when you also combine it with a really clean diet. Let me see what other questions we have on Instagram, and then we can do a quick wrap up. Sherry saying, I have high blood pressure with leaky gut. Everything has licorice in it. Yeah, I mean, that's so make sure that the licorice you're picking is in a form that does not create blood pressure. Is also the amount that matters. Like, for example, in our Adrenal TLC, we're only using 20 milligrams, which is really little. And so one thing you could do is use a licorice and measure your blood pressure and see whether it actually goes up. And you might actually notice that it does not. There's some really bigger issue questions like how do you deal with high blood pressure, leaky gut, brain mass, and severe hypothyroidism? So Sherry, I mean, this is not maybe the place for this, but one thing I would recommend is for you to look at like autoimmune protocols that really help you with restoring your gut and changing your diet up completely. I think this is going to be some of the most powerful things, not just depending on supplements. I feel like really diet is really fundamental. Somebody's asking about fibroids. So fibroids also grow due to excess estrogen. So typically what we call estrogen dominance is what causes fibroids. Starting off with the Estrogen Reset Kit that I talked about. So dim sulforaphane, which is in our store is called Brocco Power, as well as calcium D-glucarate, gives you the complete estrogen detoxification ability. That's one thing. The other way that you can deal with fibroids is to get fibro support. It's a supplement in our store as well. I don't have it here on the table with me, but it's a form of enzymes, systemic enzymes that help you actually reduce the tissue of the fibroid. They are literally like enzymes, a little bit like Pac-Man. For those of you who are as old as me, you might have played like video games with Pac-Man in it, and the Pac-Man goes around just chomping everything along the way, right? And you navigate it. So those enzymes, and they need to be taken on an empty stomach. Those enzymes have an efficacy for fibroids specifically, and they chomp down on that tissue. They're pretty amazing. So you might want to check out that product in our store. Okay, so let me see. Let's take one more last question. Kimberly is saying, my breasts are very sore and I'm estrogen dominant. The reset package will help. I am testosterone and progesterone, and I am on testosterone and progesterone and have eliminated most conventional meat. My estrogen just keeps going up and up. Will this change after I go through menopause? So yeah, so there's a lot of questions in here. First of all, you can still, let me address the last question, and that is you can still go into menopause and experience estrogen dominance. That's one of the biggest misconceptions that we get, is that there is, that we never experience estrogen dominance in menopause because all the hormones are going to be so low that's not going to happen. And that's not true. And I don't want to spend time today to explain that, but if you go to our website, hormonesbalance.com, you will see there's a whole protocol we have, an article we have on menopause and estrogen dominance, and you want to understand why that happens. And the short version is that the way, even though you're low on estrogen, the way you're breaking down those estrogens can still be unfavorable. Plus also your estrogen progesterone levels, even though both of them are low, are unfavorable. So this is the reason why, if you think about it, Kimberly, women who are in menopause are also the ones who are the highest, have the highest numbers of estrogen receptor positive breast cancers, right? So the estrogen receptor positive breast cancer, as the name implies, is receptive to estrogen, is those dirty estrogens, those metabolites that are pathogenic metabolites, when we're breaking down the estrogens in a bad way, we are forming too many dirty estrogens. Those are the ones that are fueling the growth of breast cancers. And so if you think about it, right, it's, estrogen dominance is an issue for women in menopause. So it's not going to go away. When you are having very painful and sore breasts, yes, the Estrogen Reset Kit can help, because that helps you to that Estrogen Reset Kit is going to help you how you're breaking down those estrogens, is going to skew it away from the dirty ones, more towards the clean ones, okay? The other thing is that you're taking progesterone. Make sure you're taking progesterone, bioidentical progesterone, and not progestin. Progestin is derived from horse urine, and it is a synthetic form of progesterone. That is the reason why a lot of the studies on hormones have been terminated, because of progestin. Elimination of conventional meats. Okay, that's a great start. I would say get my book and learn how to also eliminate things like gluten, dairy, just to bring the inflammation down. Lastly, I would just say also that the GLA Maximus is a wonderful supplement for sore breast. Both you can take it internally, but you can also open up the soft gel and with scissors or a knife and take the oil out and then apply it on your breast, and you will see that it's just going to give you a lot of relief. So a lot of tools to work with. If I were you, I would just start off with the Estrogen Reset Kit, clean up your diet, get off gluten. Not now, because we are going into a holidays. There's not a time to change your diet, but you can do that easily with, after that in January or so. So stock up on it now, save some money. Estrogen Reset Kit, make sure you're taking progesterone bioidentical, not progestin, and then do a GLA for immediate pain relief, and that should really help you a lot. Okay. All right. So I think we should be good. Let's see. So somebody's asking about fibroids, that with fibroids, we are trying to lower estrogen, but what do you do about libido? So a couple of things here. So first of all, it's a misconception. If you're having fibroids, you don't want to lower your estrogen, because look, we need estrogen as women to function properly. Okay. We need it for bones, for good mood, for healthy brain, for our bone health, for good quality sleep, for having cycles, if you still have those, right? I mean, we need estrogen. So it's not correct to say that. What we want to do is we want to make sure that how those estrogens are broken down to clean and dirty estrogens is we can manipulate that, or we can influence that with the support of different supplements. And really, most of it is happening in your liver and your gut, okay? And then libido in women depends more so on testosterone, more so than estrogen itself. So taking things like DHEA, using one of my favorite products is Julva. Julva is also now running a sale. You guys might want to check it out, Julva, from my good friend, Dr. Anna Kabaka. That's a really great DHEA that goes topically on the private parts down there, and it really helps women with incontinence, strengthening the muscles there, but also a lot of women report great libido improvements. Okay, so I hope this was helpful today for you to get a little bit more understanding of the different products that are out there that you might be interested in stocking up. And like I said, don't shop today yet. Just put it in your cart and then check out on Saturday or after that. That's when the sale begins, and it's going to be 25% across the store. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here today. Have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, we are getting ready for the big sale. And I'm not sure if I will see you. Probably I will see you sometime in December for a few educational videos. And then I'm also looking forward to having a bit of a break. All right. Thanks, everyone, and have a great weekend.